Okay, great. So yes, Omar, you can go on and start. And welcome to our Road to DevFest. It's such an honor to have you here, and we look forward to your great session. You can go on.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to give this awesome talk on how you can kill two birds with one stone using Flutter. So, my name is Umar Saidu Auna. I'm the lead organizer for GDG Mina here in Nigeria. I'm a mobile engineer, and that's my Twitter handle at Umar Auna in case if you want to connect later. So let's get started. What is Flutter? So basically, Flutter is not a language. It's a framework actually. So it's a framework that's based on underlying from Dart. So this is what Flutter is. Flutter is, that's the way I see it, is basically you killing two birds with one stone, but in some other aspects, if you want, you can kill more than two birds with it. But for now, you can be able to just kill two birds with one stone with it. So this is what Flutter is all about. It's a Google UI toolkit for building natively compiled apps for mobile, web, and desktops. You can build iOS and Android. Oh, I'm supposed to put Android or iOS. Android first and iOS. Don't, please, I'm sorry for Android users. Don't be offended with this. I'm supposed to put Android first and iOS. Sorry. So you can build iOS and Android apps using a single code base, and that's the beauty part of it. And it's cross platforms. It works on your Mac, Windows, and Linux, and it is extremely super fast. You don't need to bother about speed. So you are welcome to a space whereby Flutter is really fast. So like I mentioned earlier on, Flutter is based on a programming language, and the programming language is called Dart. So it uses an OOP language called Dart, and it's been optimized for UI implementation. That's your user interface. It's fast on all platforms, both Android and iOS. Then it's similar to JavaScript with elements of Java. So when you start, don't be a bit confused. Is this JavaScript or is this Java? So it's just the whole language is being borrowed from JavaScript and Java. So that's the beauty part of it. So if you're coming from JavaScript, you won't find it very weird. And if you're coming from Java, you won't find it very weird to also to use. So everything that you see in Flutter are widgets. But I think I saw a post that not everything is a widget in Flutter. I'm still doing that research. So widgets is everything is a widget in Flutter, and it uses material design components and your scaffold, your app bar, your container, your image, your icon, and the rest. They are all widgets. Your stateless and your stateful widgets, they're all your what is it called, your widgets. Then I think for React Native, for those that are doing React Native, it's called components. Yeah, it's called components. Then for those that are into Jetpack Compose, it's called composables. So if you're coming from React Native or Jetpack Compose, we call it widget here, but they're having the same function, but we call it widgets here. So this is how a stateless widget looks like. It's immutable state that cannot be changed during runtime. So this stateless widget is just basically what you just use to display UI that they don't change during runtime. So maybe like you want to change a certain text, maybe you want to update a number or something. We don't use stateful widget. We use stateful widget to do that, because with stateful widget, it does that changes for you. So this is how stateful widget looks like. It's a mutable state that can be redrawn on the screen multiple times. So this is how it looks like. It's extend a stateful widget, and it has keys, and also this is where we have the container. If time permits us, I will quickly show us a code that we can go around with this. So there are different types of widgets in Flutter. So we have the output, as output and input. These ones are visible. So these are your raise button, your text, your card, your image, and the rest. They are being drawn on the screens. So this is what the users see. Then the other one, they are layout and control. These ones, they are invisible. You can't see them, but you know that they are there. For example, your row, your column, and your list view. You are seeing what it's doing. You arrange your items in row and in column. It's working fine. You know it is working fine, and you know it is there, but you can't see the real row and then the real column itself. So it just basically give your app structure and control how these widgets are drawn onto the screen. Oops, sorry, back. Okay, yeah. So from now on, everything you see in Flutter are widgets. If you're coming from React Native or Jetpack Compose, everything here, it's widgets. So I'm going to list out some important things that you need to know before you can be able to get started into Flutter. So if you are wondering how Flutter Dart transform to a native app, it's with the help of Flutter SDK. So before you even start building Flutter apps, you need to download the Flutter SDK. I think it's roughly around close to 1 gig or 2 gig. So when you download it, you configure it, and with this, you're good to go. You should be able to handle your native app for you very easily, both your Android and your iOS app. So Flutter does not use platform primitives. What do I mean by platform primitives? If you are coming from React Native, I haven't done much of React Native, but I have a friend that does React Native a lot. So I'll actually see what normal happens in React Native. So that's why I'm using React Native, for example. So in React Native, when you decide to give a component, let's say, like, for example, you are going to use a button that when you tap, an action is going to perform on that button. So that button is going to be drawn into on your Android and your iOS. They are going to match with your Android operating systems, what it comes with that Android operating system. So let's assume you have a button that has a green color. It's going to match with how the Android app is going to look like, and iOS is going to match with how the iOS renders its UI. So the way it works in React Native, that's how it does. Then for Flutter, how it works is whatever UI you have in your Android is the same UI that you see in your iOS. Your button, your text, any kind of component that I use is the same thing that you see. There is no similarities, there is no difference. So custom implementation Flutter directly controls every page which is drawn. So it gives you greater controls and less platform limitation, except if you want to specify, maybe, okay, you want to specify, okay, for this, you want to use Android components, and for iOS, you want to use iOS components. So for Android, I think we use Material Design, and for iOS, we use Cappuccino components. So Material Design is everywhere. It's in our mobile, our web, everywhere that you think of that uses UI, you will definitely find Material Design. So Material Design is created and heavily used by Google. It is not Google style, like I said, it's not Google style. It's just a general style that Google created. It is for everyone. It is indeed highly customizable and works on iOS devices too, like I mentioned earlier on. So I have some few people that I know that are against Material Design. I don't know why, I don't know for what reason, but they are really against Material Design. So I don't know why. Material Design is coolest and beautiful a way to build your UI apps. Then Material Design is built into Flutter, but you also find Apple style called Cappuccino widget. Like I mentioned earlier on, they are called Cappuccino widgets. If you don't want to use Material Design in your app, you can use Cappuccino widget everywhere in your entire app, and it will look like it's actually like Apple. And once you look at it like Apple, it's the same thing as that's how it's going to look like on your Android. So requirements now to get started, we have for iOS, you need to use the latest S code, iOS simulator or iPhone. If your laptop is not that too powerful, I would recommend you get an iPhone. Then for the Android, very recommendable. You have to install Android Studio because it will download, install some of the SDKs that you're going to use. And if you want, if your system is very powerful enough, you can work with emulator. If not, you can use Android phone to do that very easily. So you don't want to stress your laptop or stress your time trying to configure emulator, and taking your time when loading, especially when you are using a laptop of 8 GB RAM. Then in Android Studio, there is a plugin for Flutter that you need to install so that it will work very well. And VS Code also, if you're a fan of VS Code, same thing also, there's a bunch of extensions that you need to install for it to work very well. So I hope I'm not boring you. If you're tired that I'm boring you, so it's time for you to wake up and let's go into the main thing. So how to start killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. But actually, there's a book for it. I haven't read this. I just saw it online and it's really cool. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I would like to get the book and read it. So these are the resources that you can easily use. Don't worry, you can take screenshots, or later I'll share the slides on how you can be able to access it. So these are resources you can easily learn. We have the crash course, FlutterCrashCourse.com, Flutter.dev. These are some of the links that you can easily access. And the most important one, this link, medium.com Flutter community. It's a blog. They normally post on blogs regarding Flutter on medium.com. So you can subscribe and keep up. I think they send them mails every morning just to, before you start your work, you at least can see what's happening in the Flutter community. And my advice is this: when you want to start anything new, anything programming that you want to, please avoid following some YouTube tutorials that will give you, especially when it comes to building apps, like they will give you apps like build WhatsApp clone, build Twitter clone, build Instagram clone, and the rest. Avoid those channels. Don't follow those clone stuff. What I need you to understand is get the basics. Once you get the basics, focus on the UI, how you can be able to integrate the UI properly. Once you can do that, any other thing follows. Know what buttons does, how it's been implemented. Even checking the core code, how it looks like, your text, your image, how can you be able to integrate image, and so many things. Do that, and I promise you, even they wake you from your sleep, they will ask you, okay, can you list some of the components in a button? And just open your eyes and tell them this is what it does, because you have been using it constantly. So always start from the bottom, you move way up, not from the top, way down. And finally, if you know this meme, normally trending on Twitter, welcome to a new dispensation. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask before we jump into the coding part.
Thank you, Omar. If you have any questions, you can either raise your hand or you can write it down on the comment section. Yeah. I guess you can go on, but if people raise their hand, I will let you know.
Okay, all right, no problem. Thank you very much. Let's stop sharing and move to studio. Okay, if you can see my screen, please let me know. All right, cool. So this is how, when you create a new project, this is how it looks like. So before you start a new project, you go to File, New, where is it? New project. So you look at, okay, sorry, not here. File, new Flutter project. Yeah, new Flutter project. Okay, it seems like the menu is not showing. Let me share my entire screen. Okay, if you can see my screen now, let me know.
Yes, yeah, I can see
Okay,
the whole screen.
all right, cool. And you can see this, there is this menu I'm showing right now that's coming up, this menu here.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, good. It wasn't showing earlier on. So before you should be able to create a new Flutter project, like I mentioned earlier on, you need to download the Flutter SDK. So once you do that, you will need to set the path to wherever because normally it's coming in a zip format. You have to unzip the file and you point it to here. That's mine is in downloads, Flutter flavors, and Flutter 3.10.4. So once this is good, we are good to go. Then you hit on next. So when you hit on next, you give it a name. Let's say road to the first. Then I don't think it's accepted like this. Let's say road to the first. Yeah. Then you give it a description of what that app does, what it's all about. Let's say just like a demo app that shows any other thing that you want to put. Then in the organization, so what this organization does is just like a URL, but it's been moved from your right to your left, been turned upside down. Then so it can be, let's say, so for this we can say com.road.devfest. So this organization, com.road.devfest, is your unique ID to your app. When you're uploading your app to your Android or iOS, it's going to be needed, very important. So that's basically in a way that you try to differentiate other apps that are there in the app store. So sometimes you might come across app with the same, close to the same name, but not similar name, but close to the same name. But the only difference that is there is just the package name. That's why we are saying something like that. Then for the Android language, if you are not into Kotlin, you can choose Java. Then if you're not into Swift, you can choose Objective-C. Then for platforms, you can choose Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, Web, Windows. But for this, our focus is killing two birds with one stone, which is Android and iOS. So when you're done with that, I think you just need to once you hit the create, it's straight create the whole app for you. Once you do that, the first thing that you see, this is what it comes in with. It normally comes up with a demo app that has a counter that appears. So this is how the code looks like. Like I mentioned, we have stateless widget here, and then we have our stateful widget here. And inside our stateful widget, so this is where the main dat class is. So this main dat class is like the landing screen, or let me say the landing page for your app. So whenever you launch your app, it comes here first before going to any other place. Then this is how it looks like. This is the demo app. So what this app does is just basically it's a counter app that shows you how it changes. So let me show you how it looks like. So this is it. When you run the app, it comes up like this. You have a push button, and we have a text here with push. So when you push this, it keeps on incrementing the number for you, and so on and so forth. So this is how the apps look like. So before I move on, let me explain to you what this project menu does, what it looks like. Here we have the Android code, and here we have the iOS. So basically, what you are mostly going to be interacting on, if you are building for both platforms, you are going to be looking at this Gradle part where you change, sorry, it's inside the app, this Gradle where you will change, I think, the package name that comes with this. So if you are not fine, if you are not okay with this, you can change this here and it works fine. Same thing goes with the iOS. And what else again? You are not going to do heavy stuff here. So maybe probably when you're about to deploy app on App Store, this is where you mostly comes in to do that. And if you are building an app that deals with permissions, let's say like your app deals with internet permissions, you want to access internet, you will have to come to a place called manifest, Android manifest. Trying to look for it. Normally it's to be somewhere around here. I don't know where it's why it's not showing. Wow, that's strange. Android. First. It normally used to be around here. I don't know why. Okay, this is it here. See it here. Wow. Okay, you're sitting inside source. So this is the manifest, the Android manifest here. It has your label, the name, and everything. So if your app this with permissions, this is where you come in to declare those permissions here. Let's say your app requires you want to use the camera, your locations. You come in here to declare that permissions here also. Then I think for here you are good. You don't need much stuff to edit here. Then for the iOS, I think you will deal with this place. Where is info.plist. So info.plist, what it does is this is where you also declare all the permissions that you will need in your app, in your iOS app. So most especially the camera, the fingerprint, if you want to use fingerprint, and also internet permission here. This is where you do that too also. It's very important, especially when you are dealing with location. Apple are really very sensitive to such kind of information, but you have to state why I use querying for that feature. So this is what you just need here, and I think you are good to go with that. Then for the main, this is where everything regarding your app goes in, your lib folder, everything entirely. This is where you state everything within your app. Then for tests, if you want to write unit test, this is where you do it, and this is where you handle your analysis option for link checking. Then PubSpec your YAML, this is where you add in your packages when you visit. Let me show you a sample. When you visit a site like this pub.dev. So pub.dev is where you will find in all the packages that you will need in your app that you want to add inside your app. So there are so many packages, so many of them, so many packages that I might want to use. Okay, so you add them somewhere around here after after the Flutter, after the cappuccino library. This is where everything goes in regarding your packages. And then you don't need to look into this. This it's automatically generated when you add your object diagram, and this your README file when you want to view everything about it, about the whole app. Maybe you want to write a few documentation tips, maybe to your team to view. Then, okay, back to the main class right now. So if you see here right now, we have a column. We have a column, and we use a widget called Center centralize the whole thing for us, the whole UI. And okay, there is no row. We'll do that later. So this is how the UI looks like. So let's say, for example, I want to add a button, and that button will have, instead of me coming here to be adding the number, I will have two buttons, which is going to be for adding and adding the number and then reducing the number. So let me quickly do that here. I think after this text, yes, after this text. So I'm going to call in my button. Let's see what's elevated button. Okay, good. So I have my child and onPress. So onPress works this way, where you handle your press, what happened to it, and it returns a function. Then this child returns a widget. So inside this widget, we can add a text, and this text will be add inside the quotes. If okay, sorry, comma. And so if you notice here, it's one that's this squiggly line underneath it, and if you hover over it, it will show you that used const. You should use const to improve performance. So why should you use const here is because it improves the performance of your app instead of when it is rebuilding the UI ish. Well, like for example, you made a change here. When it is rebuilding the UI, it doesn't have to come here again because it is constant. You just keep it and move to other components. So that's why we have to add const for that. So which means I think it's a short form for constant. So if I hit Control S, it will reload the app, and I think yeah, we have our button. This is our button here. And if I tap on it, it's not performing any action because we haven't add anything to it. So for this right now, we can get the function. This is the function that handles the increment counter. So when I click on it, this is the function, how it looks like. We have a set state, like I mentioned earlier on, with stateful widgets, you can be able to change the state of that UI by wrapping it with state. But with your stateful widget, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't accept it. So this is how it looks like, the function. So let's add it here. Increment counter, and put in this. So when I do it this way, it's not going to work because why? Right from here, we said that this is a function. So that means we are going to return it as a function to make it as a function. But this, in the other onPress, in the floating action button, it doesn't return a function. But if I should add a function here, it will be shouting that this, it will be giving me a warning that this must be a function too also. So this is what I mean. So I can easily remove this and make it this way by adding a comma. Then bring this function here and remove this. Sorry, the function. And this works very fine. But for me, I prefer using the function because maybe sometimes you might want to add other stuffs inside that you don't need to, that are very important, and maybe later on you don't have to come and start editing, removing, putting the function back, and then doing this, which will kind of like cost you a little bit of time. But by having the function, you just enter and then write your code. So once I hit it, once I Control S, it saves, reload. So let me see when I add, you see it's adding. So how about so it reduces the number. So let me add another button. Sorry, maybe outside of this column. Let me add another elevated button. Press child. And the child will be a text to also. Sorry. Add minus. Yeah, that's right. Then we'll have our function here called decrement counter. Don't worry, we'll create that function up there. Sorry, I like doing this. Sorry, this is shouting because I have to put a comma here, and I think yeah, we are good to go. So I need to add a const here. Then this function will be needed up here. So I'll just duplicate this and then change the name to this, and then change the increment to decrement. And then hit Control S. Okay, what's the issue? What is it? Okay, this needs to be a function. And I'll move this. Yep, good. So once I hit Control S, it loads the UI, and you will see another button called minus. So each time I click on it, if you see it's reducing the number and keeps on reducing. Yeah, and once I hit it again, it's going to start from minus, and which we don't want that. We want to make it that once it gets to 0, it should stop. It shouldn't move forward. It shouldn't move backward more. It shouldn't move to the negative sign. So for you to do that, you need to introduce a condition that if the counter is equals to 0, this is double equals, so don't be confused, just for checking purpose, then it should just return nothing, just return empty. So once I hit the Control S, good. So once I did the minus and it gets to 0, you will see it, no matter how many times you press it, it won't increase, it won't decrease, it just keep on showing you that. And if you want to even see, if you want to see how the way it's going to be looking as you're pressing it in your debug count here in your log here, you can add something like, I think, debug. So it's not advisable to use print. Print is not advisable because when you use print, it's going to still be showing even when after you release your app, the print will be visible. But it's well advisable to use debug print. With debug print, it won't be visible when your app is on release mode. So right here, we'll add our counter, and let's see why is it shouting. It returns a string, and this is an integer. So we can just wrap this with Sean and curly braces and $sign. Yeah, so this works. Remove unnecessary calculation when I did it. So this is how it looks like. So I will copy this, and do the same here in the increment part. So right here, when I hit the Control S, it saves. So when I hit the add, you will see it appearing here: 0, now 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't know why we're having this. Let me try moving this down. Let's see. S. And continue. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It keeps on changing, and because of the arrangement, this is supposed to be down. So it's supposed to have change first, then reflect. But I'm getting the previous version, then it will change. So just the arrangement matters. So I'll move this 2 down to also hit the Control S, and when I minus, you see it's showing 9, 8. So this debug point is really important in case maybe you want to see what is happening that you are not seeing. Let's say, for example, you are fetching something from the API, and instead of, before you even build the UI, you want to see how the response will look like. So with debug point, you can be able to see how the response, how the response, like I said, from the server would looks like. So this is all about adding and minusing. So let's look at row and column. So for row, I'm going to position this button in a row, and add children. So I'm going to move this entire code inside row, hit Control S, and we will see everything will look like this. So this is how it looks like in a row. So inside the row, there's a property called, I think it's main axis. Main axis, yeah, main axis, and we have main axis alignments. So with main axis alignments, yeah, you're trying to like see if you can spread them. If you want to position it in center, and start, space evenly, space around, space between. So let's see how to look like in center. So it's moved the whole thing center and end. This it's moved to end. There's another property called space evenly. This is how it looks like. It gives space between them. Then space between and space around. So this is how it looks like. It gives them very wide space. So let's say, for example, you don't want to use this. You just want to give a tiny space between add and minus. There is a widget called size box. So you can just position them between here. Size box. And we have both heights. If you want to use this is between the heights, but for this we are using width. So let's give it like 10 spacing, and we need to add const here because it's constant. And okay, let me add a comma here, Ctrl S. And this is it, how it looks like. And if you want to position it in center, you can do this cross axis, main axis, and main axis alignment dot center, and it goes very fine. So maybe probably you want to add an icon to this. You can copy. Let's copy this icon since we are adding. I'm going to wrap this with a row because this child is a widget, so you can add any kind of widget to it. So I'm going to wrap this with a widget, and with a row, and that row is widget. So this is row, and I'm going to add the image at the beginning and put a comma here, and we'll say shouting because I need to add const to it. Now hit Ctrl S, and you can see the plus and or minus. It's true. Dots. I think that is. I can't remember the icon, but let's just add the art here, and you see how it looks like. I need to put comma S, and this is how it looks like. So you can put an icon, and if you want to give it more spacing, you can call in your size box here, and size box, and if it's a width, let's give it 10. Let's see how it looks like. So it has given the space. So same thing with the other one. So don't worry, this code will push to GitHub too also. I'll push this code to GitHub and you have access to it too also. So this is it. We have our minus and our add. Very easy. And in terms of colors, assume we have time, we don't have much time. So there are just the links that I added in the slides. You can easily access the whole thing inside. Like there's, I think this, I recommend that you look at fluttercrashcourse.com. So that's very important. Like they will show you almost all these things, how to change color and so many things. And I think that's it. That's what I discovered. I think with this, I hope I've done a proper justice on getting started with Flutter, how you can know all about it and how you can kill two birds with one stone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Omar. That was a good session. And for those who are here, do you have any questions, any comment, any recommendation? We have, I think, 20 more minutes. You can have like a Q&A, or if you have any doubts or questions, you can just ask. You can raise your hand, or you can comment on the site. You can comment on the comments below.
What?
Who has questions? Can you guys hear me?
Hope I'm able to convince you, not to confuse you.
Yeah, definitely. You did convince us. If you have any questions, you can either raise your hand and unmute yourself, or you can write the questions on the comment below. Yeah, and for Omar, you can send. Can we get the presentation if possible, and the links? Hi, Omar. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted. Let me do that now. I'm doing that now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just shared the link.
Okay, thank you so much. And who has a question or comment or any that regarding the session or mobile development of Flutter itself?
Any questions? Or should I ask?
Yeah, you can definitely ask them. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Okay, I think so. Okay, okay. I think
Yeah, outside you can go on. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think if
outside you can unmute yourself and yeah.
Hello. I have no question,
Yes,
but I
Alpha.
just want to
Go on.
yeah, I just want to commend him for that wonderful presentation on the mobile application.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alpha. So, Omar, there is a question from Sarah Tangak. We, the hacker workers, are watching hope to get the recording for having you apply this original. Thank you so much for the presentation. Sorry for coming in. Yeah, yeah. There is a recording going on. I'm also doing the recording, and definitely we'll upload it on our YouTube, and we'll share the link to on all our social media platform, and hopefully you can get to go back there with the reference, and also we'll make sure the Google link, the Google Docs will be public so that you can get the links and the presentation in case you want to reference back to the presentation or to the links. Yeah. Yeah, definitely I will do that. Any other question, comment, or recommendation? And yeah, Omar, if you have questions for them, you can definitely ask.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So how many things can Flutter kill? I
I think we can also do a giveaway, maybe if they answer, they can get a giveaway. And by I'm sorry for let me announce this. We are having our DevFest, which is Banjul. If you will be around in Banjul or you're in Banjul, we're having our DevFest on the 9th of December, which is a Saturday. And similar sessions like this will be taking place and with a swag and food and everything. So I just copied the link and pasted it here. So do register and to join us for that fest. So yeah, you can go on from.
okay. All right. My question earlier on, how many things can Flutter kill? The giveaway is this. It's actually a virtual token. So if you use JetBrains IDE, any kind of JetBrains IDE, I will be able to give you a 1 year free license. We all know how JetBrains IDE are very, very expensive. So you have access to it for up to a year. So that question goes to the winner.
Yeah, raise your hand and then we'll unmute you. When I say good choice of ideas. Okay. Alpha, did you raise your hand? Yeah, you can unmute.
Yeah, I just have a question. Like I want to know whether the mobile app can be easily accessible. The tool.
Okay, the code, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll push it to GitHub. Once I'm done with that, I will share the link to Aji, and she will be able to push it to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Umar.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Are you talking?
Yeah, Modu, you can go on and actually answer the question he asked.
Okay.
So, Omar, maybe you can repeat the question you asked again for the virtual giveaway.
Okay, I was saying is this, how many birds can you kill? Or let me say, how many things can you kill with Flutter? How many things? You just not the number, just list them for me, and I think we are good to go. The winner will have a 1 year free license to any JetBrains ID of his or her choice.
So raise your hand or just unmute and say the answer.
Okay, Mohammed Oniji, just that's nice.
Mohammed Onya, okay.
Yeah. He has already killed, I think, 5 birds here with 1 stone. Thank you very much, Mohammed. So, Mohammed, if you're on this call, I think, is he still on this call? Okay, you can. All I need is your full name, your email address, and your ID of choice.
Good afternoon, Umar.
Yeah, you can type it in the chat section. Then I'll get it. Your
Okay,
full
no
name,
problem. I'll go to
your full name, your email address, and your ID of choice.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, any other question or comment or recommendation? Because we have like.
Hello, Umar.
Okay, Mocham, go on.
Something I don't know how to frame it in Flutter terms, but when developing with React Native on Expo, there is something called Expo Go, where instead of running your app on the emulator you have on the computer while developing, you can directly run it on your personal device. Is there anything like that on Flutter? I'm just curious about it.
Yeah, on Flutter you can run your app on your devices. So also you can run it on your iPhone, on your Android. You can run on your devices. So that's what I was mentioning earlier on during the talk. If your laptop is not that powerful, like the RAM is around 8 GB, you can use your device in order to stress your laptop and your laptop itself. So you can use your phone to do that.
So is there different methods of connecting it, or can you only do it by, let's say, cable, or can you do it both on cable, on Wi-Fi, and everything else?
You can do both cable and Wi-Fi. But first, the process. You have to do the cable, then Wi-Fi first. I don't know. Do you still have fast time, Aji? Let me just quickly demo that.
Yeah, sure. You can.
All right. Give me a minute. Let me get my dongle. Okay, let me share my screen. Please, if you can see my screen, let me know. I think Mohammed, I think Android Studio is free. Android Studio is free. So maybe any apart from Android Studio, any other, maybe IntelliJ, PyCharm, PHP Storm, anyone that you think you're okay with, you can do that. So I think this is how it looks like. Let me come. Let me go to Android Studio. So once I connect my phone, you should be able to see your device showing. Oh wow, I don't know why mine is not coming up now. That's a bit strange. Okay, that's strange. Give me a minute, I'm coming.
And also, I think Ali, you raise your hand if you have a question or comment you can ask while you wait for the thing to come up.
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on most Jam's question. I think he was trying to ask about if you can develop on Flutter without the Android SDK, and all of that. Because with React Native, you use tool like Expo, you do not have to set up the Android SDK, all the other
Oh,
requirements.
oh, okay. No, for Android, for Flutter, you need the SDK. You have to install the SDK before you're able to do that.
Okay, Onja, you can also unmute and ask a question.
Umar,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm fine.
Well, I'm a Flutter developer with 2 years experience. I have been developing applications using Flutter, so I know it very well. But I would just want to ask, what or which type of projects do you think that a Flutter developer has to engage in or build in order to get a job? Remote, I mean remote jobs, not local in the Gambia, but remote, because here most of the people here we use React. But for me, I use Flutter, so the market here is very low. Any advice?
Okay, so Flutter is really growing very, very wide. If you notice earlier this year, there was an event hosted in Kenya earlier this year. I think Flutter Forward. I think the name of them Flutter Forward. So that's sorry that for them to come all the way to Africa to host the event in Kenya, Flutter is really doing an amazing thing here in Africa. So and apart from that, regarding apps that you can easily build, I can't really tell you that there's a specific app that you need to do, but what I advise you to do is try to look at some of the challenging issues that your community are facing that you yourself you can think that you can be able to solve with building a Flutter mobile app. By doing that, it really give you a plus when it comes to the interview process. All you have to do is tell them that this project, I was able to build this to achieve a certain number of percentage of people that use the app in my community, and it helped them in so and so way. And then you give them either a metrics, you give them the metrics, okay, this is what it does. And most of these interviewers, all they want to hear is numbers. They like hearing numbers. You can have their numbers, they are good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Omar. And any more questions? Because we have exhausted the 1 hour. If you have any questions or any comment or recommendations, now is the time to ask. And Omar, thank you so much for the sessions and for answering the questions and actually for joining our Road to DevFest. It was such an honor to have you here and
Can
share
I
your
say
knowledge with us. Yes, Mucham, you can go on.
Probably like I said in the chat, JetBrains ID is full choice of artists. So they normally do offer a license for students. So I will share the links before the meeting ends. And if you're a student and you just want to check them out, maybe you can do that. So just give me 2 minutes, let me check for the link. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much, Mucham. Thank you so much. I think we'll also add it to the Google Docs that will be shared with people. Yeah, so if you guys don't have any questions, we can just let Omar say the last words and then we can call it a day.
Mohammed, the country. Sorry, I forgot to add the country.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What's this advantages? Okay. I think there's another question here. My question is, what advantage does Flutter has over other mobile development technologies? Please. And as each technology has its own unique features, so the thing is, this, yeah, like you mentioned, they have their own unique feature. So it doesn't matter. It depends on the company or the organization. Okay, what they feel like, what they want to use or go with. So it depends on what the advantage. So let's say, for example, there's a company that I was working with earlier on. We are building the app using Android native, that's Kotlin and XML. Then all of a sudden, Jetpack Compose came out, and we started migrating some of our code base to Jetpack Compose. From Jetpack Compose, the CTO from nowhere said that we are going to move everything to Flutter because the company cannot maintain more than 2 teams, so we have to move to Flutter. So, and like I mentioned, Flutter is one of the fastest growing tool for building cross-platform mobile apps, be it Android, iOS, mobile, Android, iOS, desktop, web, even embedded systems. You can use it to build your embedded systems with. So that's the beautiful thing about Flutter. It just keeps on growing and evolving. And I'm not sure for React Native if you can use React Native to build embedded systems, people that are into IoT. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. I haven't done that research, but I'm not sure. But with Flutter, it carries almost everything.
Okay, any more questions or recommendations or anything? If you guys don't have any questions, I think Omar, you can just conclude and then we can call it a day until next week. We'll be having TensorFlow.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Aji, and thank you so much for everyone for listening, asking your questions. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Omar, and thank you very much for the great session. And yeah, we look forward to having more of these sessions in the future.
Thank you.
To all of you guys who joined, see you next week for another interesting session, especially interested in machine learning. Thank you so much and have a great weekend. Right, yeah, the Twitter handle. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll definitely tag you on Twitter. Thank you so much. And